A grain of cancer blood swallowed into the abdomen, only then did I know that my life was determined by me, not by heaven. Mosquito Number 1. Join glorious evolution, look at me with 4 wings, 8 legs, and 6 bellies. I am the number 1 foodie in the mosquito world. Mosquito Number 2. How many floors does a bag of rice resist? Let the world feel pain, self-destructing mosquitoes are not afraid of difficulties. Mosquito Number 3. Master caresses my head, grows tumors and gives me longevity. Come out, my great sword. The master points to it, which is the direction of my sword edge. Aircraft Sauticula, mosquito colony precursor. You mutated a bit and now they are all mine, become a part of my body. Gu Xian. This mosquito is so disgusting after it turns cancerous. Let's throw it away and feed it to the chicken. Omega, mutant flow beast plus blood and flesh ascending flow plus cancer transformation goo refining flow. Keywords of the novel. I can use cancer cells to infinitely nourish goo without pop-ups. I can use cancer cells to infinitely nourish goo. Download the complete set of TXT, and I can use cancer cells to infinitely nourish goo. Read the latest chapters. Chapter 1. What is this pain in the wind and rain? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. What is this pain in the wind and rain? The cold rain patted haphazardly on the face wearing a white shirt, black suit pants, and white flip-flops. With slanted bangs, long and broken hair, Gu Xian's facial features look ordinary when separated, but when combined, they appear harmonious and durable. However, he is only 1.7 meters tall. Dragging his suitcase with one missing wheel, his expression revealed stubbornness in sadness. In the drizzling rain, like a melancholic and sorrowful prince, strolling along the cement paths in the countryside. The rain slid down Gu Xian's slightly emaciated cheeks, and the originally handsome slanted bangs were now tightly pressed against his forehead, making him look more like a bumpkin than a prince. In this scene, Gu Xian couldn't help but think of a famous scene in an idol drama where the male protagonist was drenched in the rain. Female supporting character 1. Hey look, the male lead is getting wet again equals Omega, female support 2. Yes, I heard that whenever it rains, he will think of his ex-girlfriend who passed away due to blood cancer. Female supporting character 1. Yes, he also said that every time he gets wet, it's like his ex-girlfriend hugging him in the sky. Female supporting character 2. Oh my god, he is really a kind and affectionate man. Female support 1. Oh so handsome, I really want to be his girlfriend. Male protagonist. Oh my god, why are you treating me like this? Puff. After flashing through the screen in his mind, Gu Xian's disguised sadness and stubbornness instantly broke through. With a loud burst of laughter, there was also a large nasal mucus spurting out from the nose. Oh my goodness, he doesn't want to be so brainless and go home in the rain. But his parents who have raised him since childhood and instilled in him since childhood that boys should be strong enough to deceive their parents. After just receiving a call from him to get off the car, he refused to come out and pick him up, citing that he was already a man who graduated from college. What's the point of getting a little rain, originally belonging to Gu Xian, who returned home in embarrassment. After the newly styled hair was soaked in rain, I became completely angry. So, he decided to be a sorrowful wanderer in the rain, not only to get gonorrhea, but also to show an extremely sad appearance, and to pierce the hard-hearted hearts of his cruel parents at home. However, he has always had a big heart since he was young and has been used to being raised. No matter what, it's just a matter of thinking and feeling overwhelmed. I've been sad for 3 minutes since I was young. After 3 minutes, I set aside the sadness, he said in the wind and rain. What is this pain worth? Unable to disguise himself, Gu Xian kicked his nose hard before running wildly towards his home in the rain. As he ran, Gu Xian sang loudly in response to the situation. It's not just about going to the city to find a job, but being caught up in the 996 maniacs and unable to survive in the city. Can only go home in a disheveled state, inheriting a chicken farm, a pig farm, a cow shed with over 50 cows, and more than 30 vegetable greenhouses. Isn't it just that when his parents know he's back, they don't want to come out and pick him up, leaving him to wear flip-flops and pull a suitcase with one missing wheel, feeling sad in the rain? Isn't it just that I can only go home and become a second-generation farmer, and in the future, I can only marry the village flower? I won't be able to live in a modern house in the city for my whole life, and I can only live in a 7-story rural self-built house at home. After all, it's all the blame on those 996 maniacs in the city. Why are they so caught up in it? Internal competition comes and goes, isn't it all these workers who are harmed? Gu Xian once read the most perfect explanation about involution. A and B had a grudge, and A obtained the sunflower scripture and bravely went to the palace to seek revenge. After learning this news, B, in order to avoid being killed by A, also created a sunflower scripture and gave himself to the palace. As a result, both of them practiced the sunflower scripture equally, but in the end, A was unable to seek revenge, just like before A and B practiced the sunflower scripture. However, both A and B have paid a painful price in their own palace. Isn't it good to fish together? If you roll me away, why don't the rest of us have to do the work of one more person? While singing, Gu Xian was still thinking about all the things in his mind. After running for about 10 minutes, he finally saw the roof of his house from a distance. After passing through a self-used orchard, a self-used vegetable field, and bypassing a 3-acre fish pond, Gu Xian finally returned to his front door with rain all over his body. Dongfeng, touch. 5 tubes, bar. Yaoji, hey, sister, I don't know if Xiaoxian has come back with an umbrella. It's raining so hard, why don't you go and pick him up? Huh, let me just tell you, how can you be distracted while playing mahjong? Are you going to hit the jackpot now? Hurry up, give me money, haha, it's just that Xian is such a big person. He still needs his parents to pick him up when he comes home, and when he talks about it, he will be laughed at by Ma Bao Nan. We also do it for his good, and we don't want him to find a partner in the future and be laughed at as Ma Bao Nan. Just as he rushed under the eaves, Gu Xian originally wanted to adjust his expression and try to stir up the long silent father and mother love of his parents. As a result, before he could adjust his expression, he heard the lively sound of playing mahjong in the hall. But next, the words coming from the hall turned Gu Xian's originally intended expression of sadness into anger and self-deprecation. This home, whether you don't stay or not. With a look of sadness, anger, and self-deprecation, Gu Xian turned around and walked out of the eaves. Sigh, the rain is so cold, let's wait until it stops before we leave. Ding dong ding dong ding dong, oh, it's me Xianbao who's back. Hurry up, show mom if she's wet. After happily collecting the money, Gu Mama Yuan Xiao Xiao heard the doorbell ringing at home. Immediately put away all the money and deliberately stood up loudly to open the door. Mom, I'm sorry for delaying you from winning money while playing mahjong. I'll do it myself. You go back and play mahjong with your dad, aunt, and uncle. Based on Gu Xian's understanding of his mother, once hearing Gu Ma's tone, I guessed that it must be Gu Ma's win thoroughly and didn't want to continue fighting. Faced with Gu's mother's false cold and warm words, Gu Xian deliberately said with a smile on his face. At the age of 20, she gave birth to Gu Xian, and at 24, she gave birth to her sister Gu Wanwan's mother. Although she is already 43 years old this year, she still looks like she is in her early 30s. Coupled with her outgoing personality, she has not changed at all with age. So, Gu Mama, dressed in youthful fashion, stood in front of Gu Xian like an older sister. Feeling the sadness, anger, and resentment in her son's tone, Gu Mama quickly guessed that it must have been her own son who had just overheard her statement about playing mahjong that she couldn't be distracted from. Oh my! Playing mahjong is not as important as my precious son. Hurry up, Mom, go get you a bowl of ginger soup and go get rid of the cold. Gu Yuanshan, are you fooled by playing mahjong? Why don't you come and help your precious son carry things quickly? Compared to Gu's well-maintained mother, Gu's father is like a fat man spoiled by life. Gu's father, who is only over 1.6 meters tall, is not only overweight but also very greasy. The only good thing is that he doesn't have baldness, instead he has a head of black hair. Just like Gu's father, with her beautiful figure and charming face, Gu's mother went out on the street. If he tells others that he is not a big boss, no one will believe him. Gu's father, who has always been a spoiled wife, heard Gu's mother's words. Immediately, he ran over and picked up the suitcase from Gu Xian's hand, enthusiastically patting Gu Xian's shoulder with a friendly expression. Who could have imagined just considering Dad's current appearance? Just a few minutes ago, when Gu Xian called home and wanted his mother to pick him up, Dad Gu almost spat his saliva on the phone and said, "What do you want? What do you want? Can you take responsibility for getting my wife gonorrhea? How old are you? If you have the ability to find a wife to pick you up, why should my wife pick you up? I've been used to it since I was young." With such an atmosphere at home, what can Gu Xian say? I could only helplessly roll my eyes and say hello to my aunt and uncle. He crunched on his flip-flop and returned to his room, ready to take a hot bath first. Wow, I love taking showers, my skin is good, oh, the familiar room and warm hot water instantly eased Gu Xian's mood. A golden and silver nest is not as good as one's own dog's nest, and it must be a good home. Actually, when you think about it, there's nothing wrong with staying at home for a lifetime. If parents have more love, and feed him less dog food, he can stay in this family for a lifetime. Ding dong! Just as Gu Xian was humming a song and taking a bath, a crisp mobile phone text message rang out suddenly. Without much thought, Gu Xian shook off the water droplets on his hand and opened a text message on his phone. Medical examination report of the First People's Hospital of Nanjiang City. Gu Xian. General examination conclusion. Cancer symptoms appear in multiple areas, please undergo re-examination and seek medical attention in a timely manner. Handsome guys and handsome kids who like to read, remember to keep reading, keep reading, keep reading. Keep reading is the lifeline of new books, please asterisk, end of this chapter. Chapter 2. Tonight's Blood Wash of Buckingham Palace. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Tonight's Blood Wash of Buckingham Palace. Unable to believe it, Gu Xian widened his eyes and wiped the water droplets on his face, then eagerly opened the detailed information in the text message diagnosis book. Patient name: Gu Xian, gender: male, age 24, examination department: hepatobiliary surgery department 1. Clinical diagnosis: liver mass, hepatocellular carcinoma, moderately differentiated, with surrounding liver tissue showing cirrhosis changes. Examination department: neurosurgery. Clinical diagnosis: non-small cell carcinoma of both lungs, squamous cell carcinoma should be considered first. Examination department: tumor surgery. Clinical diagnosis: suspected proliferation of chondrosarcoma. Inspection department. As the text message was clicked, Gu Xian was completely stunned. He just went to Nanjiang People's Hospital and had an annual comprehensive physical examination. He hasn't been anywhere during this time, he just worked in the city for 2 months, not in the nuclear radiation zone for 2 months. Are you stepping on the horse to engage in cancer wholesale, packaging and purchasing, and digging into the old pit of cancer? Is this a summary diagnosis of a normal human who steps on a horse? Looking at the long list of diagnostic results, apart from the fact that his eyeballs are not cancerous, there are no cancer cells in his entire body, right? But he doesn't have any symptoms at all. His body is twice as good, he eats well and sleeps soundly. What's going crazy in this hospital? Did the doctors collectively fall ill, or did the computer have a virus? Damn it, it scared me. If Gu Xian was shocked and panicked when he first saw the text message. Now, while taking a breath of relief, a wave of anger is slowly rising. I wish I could catch those doctors from the city hospital now and give them a big fight. As for the diagnostic content in the text message, Gu Xian naturally does not believe it at all, completely treating it as a hospital operation error or the result of hospital system problems. If it were any normal person, they would not think that such a diagnosis would be true. Especially as the examinee himself, does he have any illness that he may not feel? Have you ever seen a person with cancer all over their body who can still take out 5 big bowls of rice in one meal and defeat their own shabby leadership with just a few punches? Isn't this pure nonsense? Of course, just in case, he decided to go back to the city hospital in a couple of days and figure out this matter thoroughly. At the very least, we need to get back his actual physical examination results. At least it was a full project physical examination that cost 3,000 yuan. It's not enough to give him such a deceitful and foolish physical examination result. Although he knew that this text message was definitely not true, it looked ominous, so Gu Xian casually deleted the message. After deleting the text message, Gu Xian no longer cared about the medical examination text message. With an immense heart, he indulged in a wild meal at home. Upon learning that his close friend Ouyang Ming had been playing with him since childhood in the village had returned, he immediately ran to find him. Ouyang Ming is 1 year younger than Gu Xian, but he looks tall and sturdy like a cow. Standing in front of Gu Xian, who was over 1.9 meters tall, strong, and dark, it was like a wall. The two of them colluded in urination. Ouyang Ming played the role of a wolf, and Gu Xian was the one who came up with bad ideas and crooked ideas. After graduating from high school, Gu Xian was admitted to Jiangnan University in Nanjiang City, while Ouyang Ming dropped out and went to Shaolin Temple to learn martial arts. Gu Xian studied in university for 4 years, while Ouyang Ming stayed at Shaolin Temple for 4 years. It's unclear whether he really became a monk or not. After 4 years, he couldn't be contacted at all. When he just graduated from college, 2 months ago when he came home and went out to look for a job, Ouyang Ming had not even returned. Just now, when I was eating at Haisai, I heard Gu's mother tell him that Ouyang Ming came back last night. I haven't seen you for 4 years, and I can't even get in touch. Gu Xian has long wanted to ask Ouyang Ming about the reason. Ao Ming brother, your brother, I'm here to find you. Along the way, we arrived at Ouyang Ming's house with light cars and familiarity. Gu Xian, who was familiar with us, called out Ouyang Ming's name while walking towards Ouyang Ming's yard. After hearing Gu Xian's shouting, a huge figure immediately ran out of the room. I'm riding a horse. O Ming, are you eating Jean Kula or pig feed? After seeing Ouyang Ming coming out of the room, Gu Xian was shocked to the point of using foul language. Because Ouyang Ming, who was already tall, is no longer tall, but rather huge and strong, no different from a humanoid tyrannosaurus. He is at least 2.3 meters tall, with muscular knots all over his body. Just one arm feels thicker than Gu Xian's waist. In reality, he can run horses on his arms and stand on his fists. In addition, with a shiny big head and a face as angry as a diamond, just standing there, the deterrent power is directly stretched out. If it weren't for Gu Xian growing up with Ouyang Ming in open crotch pants since childhood, I'm afraid he wouldn't dare to recognize the current Ouyang Ming as the same person as the simple and tall high school student Ouyang Ming who used to study in high school. Oh, my foolish little brother. You're here. Hurry up, let your brother hug you. Although Ouyang Ming is 1 year younger than Gu Xian, the question of who is the elder brother and who is the younger brother between the two has yet to be determined. Anyway, both of them call each other their own names and treat each other as brothers. Like a little giant, Ouyang Ming's face was naturally filled with joy. He opened his thick and huge arms, wanting to have a close embrace with Gu Xian. Stop, I'm afraid you'll pull out my shit, why don't you hold me? Gu Xian, who was thin and weak, stood in front of Ouyang Ming as if he were standing with kindergarten children and adults. At the sight of Ouyang Ming still holding himself, his handsome face immediately turned pale with fear, and he quickly surrendered. I'll wipe it, can you be a little more civilized? At least you've been to college for 4 years, haven't you? Okay, I'm afraid you'll make me fly freely, so let's not hold on to it. That's okay. Huh, how did you know I was back? I thought I wouldn't see you this time. Coincidentally, today I punched my sobby leader a few times and got fired from the company. I had no choice but to go home and inherit the chickens, ducks, geese, pigs, cows, fish, and vegetables from my family. As a result, when my mom said you were back, I came to find you quickly. The two of them, who had not seen each other for a long time, quickly regained their former feelings in just a few words. Their pure childhood emotions did not change with the passage of time. A few packets of spicy food, a few packets of pickled peppers and chicken feet, a large packet of peanuts, and a box of beer. Still in Ouyang Ming's familiar oversized custom-made king bedroom, the two of them talked incessantly about their experiences over the past 4 years. Dee. As you and I spoke, the time unknowingly arrived at 1 a.m. Just as Gu Xian was about to get into bed and continue a long conversation with Ouyang Ming all night, Ouyang Ming's phone suddenly rang. Hello, it's me. Situation. Advance. Third order mutation. Pay attention to safety. Upon hearing the ringing of his phone, Ouyang Ming's expression changed slightly, but he did not intentionally avoid Gu Xian. He only covered his phone with his palm and answered the call. Sitting in front of Ouyang Ming, Gu Xian, although not intentionally eavesdropping, also vaguely heard some very strange information. Gu Xian, I have something to do and have to leave immediately. I can't tell you too much about what I'm doing at the moment. However, from now on, you should pay more attention to the changes around you, exercise regularly, and it's best to order some weapons such as swords online. Remember my words, pay more attention to the changes around me, and help me take care of my parents at home. After answering the phone, Ouyang Ming's eyes flickered a few times before he hesitated and said some strange things to Gu Xian. Sleeping slot, are you losing your mind? Or have you watched too many TV dramas and made such a mysterious mess? Just tell me secretly. If, like in TV dramas, you stumble and cover up, causing some regrettable things, and I don't think I'll be able to beat your brain out of my wits. After saying some strange things, Ouyang Ming was ready to get up and leave. However, at this moment, Gu Xian made a flying pounce and directly threw himself onto Ouyang Ming's back, causing a burst of brainwaves when facing Ouyang Ming's head. Hiss, damn it, I'm afraid you won't believe me if I say it out loud, treating me like a lunatic. After Gu Xian's brain burst, even Ouyang Ming's copper skin and iron bones were painful. He took a deep breath and pulled Gu Xian off his back, then spoke with a gloomy expression on his face. You say it, how do you know I don't believe it if you don't say it? If I say that the end of the world is coming soon, do you believe it? Looking at Gu Xian's angry expression, Ouyang Ming hesitated for a second before gritting his teeth and saying seriously to him. Sleeping trough, you know the end of the world is coming soon. Didn't you tell me earlier when you stepped on the horse? I'll go back to the city now and blood wash Buckingham Palace tonight. Ouyang Ming. Sigma, degree winky face. What is it? After changing the signing status, there will be 2 daily changes, but if the signing status is not changed, there will be 1 daily change ****. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Tonight's Blood Wash Sow's Nest. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Tonight's Blood Wash Sow's Nest. The planet's magnetic field weakens, cosmic rays enter the atmosphere, and the biological form of the progenitor star is affected by cosmic rays and unknown energy, resulting in unpredictable mutations. Level 1 mutation is simply a physical enhancement, with a small amount of physical alienation, such as multiple ears, multiple tails, or the growth of bone spikes. Level 2 mutation. While the physical attributes skyrocket, there is a noticeable alienation in the body, such as cockroaches growing to the size of mice, mice growing a pair of tentacles, and pigeons growing 4 wings. Level 3 mutation, which is currently known as the highest level mutation, is a type of creature that has transcended the realm of physical science. It has strange shapes, diverse abilities, and a significant increase in intelligence. Some already intelligent mammals can even possess intelligence comparable to humans after achieving level 3 mutations. If that's all, with the current level of human technology, suppressing them would still be as easy as pie. After all, in the face of 7.62 bullets alone, Zushing has no carbon-based life that dares to show its teeth. There is no need to use powerful weapons that can destroy the sky and the earth, high-precision high-tech weapons. With just conventional modern thermal weapons, humans can suppress a kindergarten child like boxing champions. Easily suppress and crush all level 3 mutants who dare to appear. If it were only the third-order mutated creatures that appear at this stage, there would be no end to the world at all. What truly makes the governments of various countries on the ancestral planet feel helpless is the continuous weakening of the ancestral planet's magnetic field. If we continue at this rate of weakening, the impact of cosmic rays, solar storms, and electromagnetic storms outside the ancestral star will become stronger day by day within the ancestral star. Sooner or later, the satellites, space stations, and all electronic products, and electronic system items on the surface of the Earth's outer space will lose their function. At that time, it is likely that only research bases and underground fortresses beneath the surface, where electronic system products manufactured by humans, will be preserved. If the failure of future electronic products is like cutting off the eyes, ears, and arms of our ancestors. So, in this era where the magnetic field of the ancestral planet is constantly weakening, the human body's strengthening speed is far behind that of other creatures on the ancestral planet, which is the most fatal crisis. At this stage, in a battlefield that ordinary people cannot perceive. Other organisms on the ancestral planet, especially small mammals and insects, have produced an astonishing number of third-degree mutants, counting in tens of thousands. Among humans, there are only 5 level 3 reinforced warriors with a global population of 7.8 billion, all of whom were forcibly manufactured by the US Emperor through genetic potions. If the magnetic field of the ancestral planet continues to weaken, humans will lose the guarantee of their electronic systems and be unable to use powerful weapons on the surface. High-precision and advanced destructive weapons will undoubtedly greatly reduce their combat effectiveness. However, mutated organisms have broken through to even more unpredictable level 4, level 5, and even level 6 mutants. Relying solely on conventional thermal weapons and reinforced warriors far behind mutated creatures, the dominant throne of the ancestral planet humans is feared to be overturned sooner or later. At that time, perhaps humans will transition from being the dominant rulers of their ancestral planet for thousands of years to being hunted as food by mutated creatures. The above is the reason why Ouyang Ming spent 5 minutes promoting the doomsday crisis for Gu Xian. Gu Xian was greatly shocked by the information Ouyang Ming said and immediately nodded to express 100% belief. Can you not believe it? While promoting this information for Gu Xian, Ouyang Ming twisted an iron bar into fried dough twists like plaster in front of him. Sigma, after revealing this information to Gu Xian, Ouyang Ming repeatedly and seriously reminded Gu Xian not to disclose it before leaving. Gu Xian, I can't leave the army for too long until the government announces the news of mutated creatures and enhanced warriors. My parents will ask you to be more careful. Finally, after giving Gu Xian a huge embrace, Ouyang Ming left anxiously without greeting his aunt and uncle. After Ouyang Ming left, Gu Xian was greatly shocked and deeply worried about the future of humanity and the future of his motherland. At this point, I naturally wouldn't be thinking so superficially. Before the end of the day, I should hurry to Buckingham Palace to have a good time. As a young man born under the red flag and growing up in the spring breeze of the new era, there is still some awareness of this. Moreover, if he dares to ask Gu's father for a car to drive into the city at such a late night, 80% of the cars will not be available. His parents won't be able to run after a mixed doubles meal. Amidst waves of wild thoughts and a slight drunkenness, Gu Xian was too lazy to go home, so he lay directly on Ouyang Ming's customized super big bed and fell asleep. Goo 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 goo. The night in the suburbs and countryside appears both peaceful and lively. Frogs chirp and insects chirp, and from time to time there are various night bird calls. In the room, after Gu Xian fell asleep for more than 10 minutes, there were also annoying buzzing sounds. It was a dozen or so flower mosquitoes that swarmed into the room from the unclosed window. Soon, Gu Xian, who was sleeping soundly in the room, became a delicious delicacy for these flower mosquitoes. With the sharp mouthpiece, it silently penetrated into Gu Xian's skin and found the blood vessels beneath his skin. These flower mosquitoes, whose originally shrunken stomachs began to rapidly become round and red. A few flower mosquitoes that had eaten too much even squeezed out a small drop of blood from the tail. Just as these flower mosquitoes were feasting on Gu Xian's blood and preparing to take off to find a dark and safe place to digest properly, their abdomens suddenly began to twitch and twist violently. Immediately afterwards, they began to undergo visible distortion as if they were being gazed upon by the gaze of the old gods. The first thing that shows distortion is the numerous dense and fine sarcomas protruding from their abdomen. Subsequently, the symptoms of these cancerous sarcomas began to spread towards their trunks, backs, heads, insect feet, and mouthparts. Accompanied by the crazy growth, stacking, ulceration, entanglement of these fine sarcomas, some flower mosquitoes, both inside and outside the body, are covered in dense small tumors. The signs of losing life quickly turned into a disgusting dead mosquito. Some have a mosquito leg suddenly growing in the center of their back, and this foot also has 3 hocks. Although it looks like a signal antenna due to its 3 hocks, it is completely useless. Some of them suddenly protrude on their heads, like grapes, with several compound eyes stacked together. And the tentacles on the antennae, like the tentacles of jellyfish, float around the head. Some have 2 smaller mosquito beaks growing at the mouth of the mosquito beak, resembling a trident. The biggest change is that one abdomen is stretched by 2 full legs, and 1 pair of mosquito wings is also added to the back. Transformed into a 4-winged flower mosquito with a long belly and 2 pairs of mosquito wings. In a short moment, these flower mosquitoes that had consumed Gu Xian's blood all developed varying degrees of cancerous and deformed organs. With the generation of cancerous organs, these flower mosquitoes, which had previously become round and red due to consuming Gu Xian's fresh blood, once again became dry and colorless. The distortion consumed a large amount of energy, causing these newly satiated mosquitoes to once again fall into an extreme state of hunger. This extreme hunger made these flower mosquitoes instantly turn their gaze to their peers who had just completed one cancer transformation. According to common sense, Gu Xian, such a living person, just lay in bed and fell asleep. These flower mosquitoes, in extreme hunger, should definitely go and suck on Gu Xian's blood again. However, these flower mosquitoes in extreme hunger were no exception, excluding Gu Xian from the attack target. Quickly, more than a dozen flower mosquitoes that had undergone one cancerous transformation fought in the most primitive way and became a group. The first ones to be eliminated are those disabled and deformed mosquitoes that have not obtained cancerous organs, or whose cancerous organs have no effect at all, and even drag down their original body balance. In front of the flower mosquitoes that have transformed into effective distorted organs due to cancer, these disabled and deformed mosquitoes are like nutritional cans, with sharp mouthparts piercing into their chest and mercilessly sucking and wiping away the juice from their bodies. In the end, the trident mosquito, the long-bellied 4-winged mosquito, and the claw mosquito with 1 or 2 distorted forelegs and an extra pair of claws became the winners of the first round of fighting. After consuming similar nutritional juices, all 3 mosquitoes became more lively, and their distorted organs also received some reinforcement and further distortion. Of course, for something like cancer, who knows in which direction it will deform next time. The originally strongest trident mosquito, after feeding on 4 of its kind, has a thicker, blacker, and harder trident-like beak. However, while strengthening its trident, it also distorted a dense network of 2 mid-legs and 3 hind legs. It already has 6 legs, now it directly turns into 11 legs in addition, with a trident-like mosquito beak. The weight ratio at the front end is also much heavier. This has not yet started the second round of combat, it should be the strongest. I fell head down on the bed sheet and couldn't get up, so I had to frantically shake my mosquito wings, trying to find balance again. However, the long-bellied 4-winged mosquito did not give it this opportunity and immediately popped out like a sharp sword. The trident mosquito, who couldn't even stand up, faced a fatal blow from this long-bellied 4-winged mosquito and had no way to defend or resist. Without any accidents, the long-bellied 4-winged mosquito successfully sucked the trident mosquito into a dry and empty shell. After consuming the trident mosquito, this long-bellied 4-winged mosquito did not exhibit any new distorted organs, but its defense in the abdomen became more resilient, and its 4-winged agitation became more powerful in the end. The long-bellied 4-winged mosquito killed the last claw mosquito and became the ultimate winner of this melee. It is worth mentioning that after killing and draining the claw mosquito, the 2 front legs of this long-bellied 4-winged mosquito have also developed an embryonic form of hooked claws. As long as the follow-up energy keeps up, it is estimated that a pair of front foot claws, like those of claw mosquitoes, will also grow. Buzzing. Although the ultimate victory was achieved, the abdomen of this long-bellied 4-winged mosquito remained extremely dry. Because at this moment, the process of cancer transformation in its body, the continuous division and distortion of cells, is still continuing frantically. So, this long-bellied 4-winged mosquito flew out from the window gap without stopping. With the power of 4 mosquito wings, it flew several times faster than ordinary mosquitoes and arrived outside the pigsty of Ouyang Ming's house. Because the previous litter of piglets has already been sold out, there is only one old sow left in this pigsty. In such a quiet night, the old sow was already lying on the dry straw pile in the pigsty, snorting and sleeping soundly. Outside the old sow's pigsty, it flashed like a black bullet. When the long-bellied 4-winged mosquito reappeared, it had already appeared above the neck of the old sow. Without any extra movement, the mosquito beak inserted cleanly. Then, visible blood appeared on the mosquito beak, entering its body along the beak, followed by the mosquito's abdomen rapidly expanding and turning red. However, just as the mosquito's abdomen was about to reach its limit of fullness, this long-bellied 4-winged mosquito has once again sprouted densely packed small black sarcomas on its surface, even twisted black flesh contacts. With these small sarcomas, the flesh contacts rapidly grow, stack, swell, until they finally break, turning into pus and exposing the newly formed distorted organs. The surface of the body of the long-bellied 4-winged mosquito has lost its original white stripes and become even darker and more resilient. At the same time, the abdomen once again increased by 1/4 in length and the body size also increased by 1 point. During this process, the mosquito beak never pulled out from the pig underneath, and the pig blood was still continuously sucked in. Under the continuous supply of pig blood, the 2 front feet of this long-bellied 4-winged mosquito have grown hooked claws, and the abdomen is directly pulled out to a foot length of 3 centimeters. The 4 mosquito wings on the back are also a proportion of deformities that grow to nearly 1 centimeter long. In the end, after reaching the limit of physical growth, it has distorted to the point where it is completely unlike a mosquito. After filling my stomach with pig blood, following the route of arrival, flapping his wings and transforming into black light and shadow, he returned to the room where Gu Xian was sleeping. It had distorted to the point of being like a terrifying monster, but remained silent all along, hanging upside down on the roof above Gu Xian's head. Resting quietly, digesting the pig blood in my stomach. Perhaps because of its protection, even the window remained open in the latter half of the night. But there were no new mosquito groups coming in to harass Gu Xian. But after it returned to the room for more than 10 minutes, the old sow in the pigsty suddenly woke up from her sleep. Because of a red, adult fist-sized, extremely itchy itch, quickly expanding at its neck position, stimulating its nerves. Poor old sow, unable to scratch, and unable to relieve itching through friction and collision in the back neck area. So, it can only bear it hard. The back of the neck area is like a tide, continuous, with waves stronger than waves of strange itching. Under such inhumane torture, it painfully slammed its body against the walls of the pigsty while emitting a mournful scream. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Why the Old Sow Cries Again. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Why the Old Sow Cries Again. The moon sinks and the sun rises, and the morning sun casts warm and comfortable morning light on the earth. The early morning of May in Jiangnan, especially in the suburbs, is particularly refreshing and pleasant. Woo! With the sunlight outside the window, it shone into the room and onto Gu Xian's face. Gu Xian, who was awakened by the sunlight, instinctively reached out to block his eyes. After groaning and rubbing for 2 more minutes, he finally lifted the hand that was covering his eyes and slowly opened them. Sleeping slot. After opening his eyes, Gu Xian was immediately startled by the strange bug hanging upside down on the roof directly above his head, causing a big sleeping trough. If it were before last night, Gu Xian would only have thought that such a strange bug had popped out of the room. However, after Ouyang Ming's science popularization warning, Gu Xian's first reaction at this moment was, shouldn't this thing be a mutated bug? In panic, Gu Xian rolled off the bed and grabbed the blanket in his hand as a shield. The long black bug staring closely at the roof slowly moved towards the door. Buzzing however, just as Gu Xian was moving 2 steps, the big bug hanging upside down on the roof suddenly spread its wings and swooshed down on the blanket in front of Gu Xian. To be honest, if there had been such a bug in front of him that was even smaller than a dragonfly before last night, Gu Xian would have slapped it on with a slipper and knocked it to pieces. After all, he grew up in the countryside, catching insects and fish, catching snakes and mice, riding cows and driving pigs, all of which are rare and ordinary things. Even before Gu Xian killed it, he wouldn't take a second look. After all, it's normal to see some strange and unfamiliar insects in the countryside. However, when the elongated flying insect landed on the blanket he was holding in both hands, almost facing him face to face. However, Gu Xian was 100% certain that the elongated flying insect in front of him was definitely not a normal flying insect, but a mutated insect. Moreover, after observing face-to-face at such a close distance, Gu Xian felt that the mutated flying insect in front of him, which was slightly smaller than a dragonfly, was likely a mutated mosquito. Hiss, I must be crazy. Why do you think it looks pretty and friendly? However, just as Gu Xian was considering, if it weren't for wrapping the mutated flying mosquito in front of him with the blanket in his hand, and then stomping on it fiercely. He was surprised to find that he seemed to be able to sense the emotions of the mutated flying mosquito in front of him. And after experiencing the initial panic, he actually felt that the mutated mosquito in front of him seemed to be quite stylish and liked. This kind of emotional feeling is a bit like seeing a dog that has been raised at home for several years, or even, it's like seeing a child you love. Just when Gu Xian was startled, hesitating, and unsure if he had lost his mind, the mutated mosquito, who was originally shaking its head and tail at Gu Xian and appeared very active, suddenly jumped out of the blanket and landed on Gu Xian's left forearm wearing short sleeves. Before Gu Xian could react, the sharp mouthpiece of the mutated mosquito pierced his left forearm. As the saying goes, watching such a strange mosquito, he stabbed his mouth into himself. Gu Xian should jump up in fear, then slap it to death or fly it out. However, in that moment, Gu Xian had no reason to feel that this strange mosquito would not harm him. Just like a dog at home, even though it opens its mouth wide and holds its owner's palm in its mouth. However, the owner will not feel panicked or scared just because their palm is stuck in the dog's mouth. In such an instant, the mutated mosquito had already firmly penetrated into Gu Xian's left forearm. After only a very slight sting, the mutated mosquito pulled out its mouthpiece. The next second, a scene appeared that made Gu Xian's scalp tingle and his whole body tremble. At the location where the mutated flying insect had bitten, a small, palm-sized, delicate lump suddenly grew out. Then, at a visible speed to the naked eye, it expands, suppurates, dissolves, scabs, falls off. On the large skin of the last palm, there were dense black spikes as long as leg hair, pitch black, and hard. I stepped on a horse. What is this? The entire process, from the mutated mosquito bite to the skin mutating and growing into a prickly appearance, took only a few seconds. By the time Gu Xian regained his senses, it was already too late and thorns had grown out. In panic and anger, Gu Xian grabbed the mutated mosquito and threw it fiercely towards the wall. Then, carefully using his right hand, he caressed and probed the pitch-black spikes. As a result, the index and middle fingers of the right hand felt a slight tingling sensation as soon as they touched them. Gu Xian quickly retracted his right hand and extended 2 fingers before his eyes, carefully examining them. As a result, this sight immediately frightened Gu Xian and he took a deep breath. Because during the slight poke just now, 2 small blood spots appeared on each of his fingers, from which blood seeped out and condensed into a small blood droplet on the surface of his fingers. Good guy, I'm just a good guy. Spider-Man was bitten by a spider and became a superhero who could spin silk on his wrist. After being bitten by a mutated mosquito, I became a mosquito hero on my arm who can suck blood. Looking at the black thorn on his wrist, Gu Xian felt both confused and panicked for a moment. However, for now, it seems that this thing has not caused much harm to one's own body. So his intuition just now was right, that mutated flying bug really didn't intend to harm himself. After a thought flashed through his mind, Gu Xian quickly turned his head to look at the mutated flying insect that he had just thrown onto the wall. As a result, I happened to see that at this moment, 2 mosquito legs had been broken, their bodies twisted and torn, and 4 mosquito wings on their backs had become slightly crooked due to twisting and tearing. The mutated flying mosquito was trembling and trembling as it flew. And that familiar perceptual emotion reappeared. This time he could clearly perceive that the mutated mosquito in front of him was conveying extreme hunger. Are you hungry? You don't want to suck my blood, do you? Although I don't know why I can feel the emotions of this mutated flying insect in front of me. However, Gu Xian felt that the emotions he perceived were most likely the emotions of the mutated flying insects. So, after feeling the extreme hunger of the mutated flying insect, Gu Xian originally wanted to check the status of the mutated flying mosquito. Immediately, he stepped back like an electric shock and quickly wrapped himself up in a blanket. Leaving only the nose and eyes outside, fiercely guarding against mutated flying insects. However, the mutated mosquito did not attack him, but trembled and flew away from the window. The inexplicable insect, the inexplicable feeling, and even more inexplicably became the mosquito man, Dish. Finally, the culprit behind all of this inexplicably flew away. Just as Gu Xian sat on the bed, silently digesting and contemplating everything that had happened inexplicably. The mutated mosquito that just flew away from the window position flew back. And just now, it looked half dead and lifeless. At this point, the injuries were all healed, and the long abdomen was like a small bell pepper, bright red, round, and shiny, and just as Gu Xian was surprised and amazed, this mutated flying mosquito was so amazing, with such powerful self-healing and regenerative abilities. Outside the window, there was a sudden sound, sharp and mournful, mixed with a hint of crazy screams from an old mother pig. End of this chapter. Chapter 5 200 Pigs. Don't come over. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 200 Pigs. Don't come over. Although there was no direct evidence, Gu Xian was 100% certain that the screams of the old sow outside the window were definitely related to the mutated mosquito in front of him. 80%, it was the mutated mosquito in front of me who ran to suck the blood of the old sow to recover from the injury. You damn thing with swine fever, you howled like crazy all night last night, what's happening now? The next second, oh mama, who had already woken up, angrily walked towards the pigsty, shouting angrily while walking. Obviously, the screams of the old sow last night made it difficult for her to fall asleep. "Mom, Lao O, come and see, is this pig sick? Why are there so many big bags on his body?" Immediately after, Gu Xian heard Oh Mama's astonished screams. Sleeping trough, where did the Mosquito King come from? Did he bite the pigs like this? Upon hearing his wife's shout, Oh's father immediately ran over and was also frightened by the terrifying appearance of his old mother pig, which was swollen like a toad, and let out a loud cry of lying down. Upon hearing the shouting of Oh's father and mother outside the window, Gu Xian was struck hard by the mutated mosquito in front of him. And, last night, this guy must have poisoned that poor old sow once. Even just listening to the mournful screams of the old sow, Gu Xian could already imagine that being bitten by the mutated mosquito in front of him would definitely not be comfortable. Even an old mother pig with rough skin and thick flesh is in such pain from being bitten. If someone were to be bitten, they would have to itch and faint directly. Especially, there seems to be a special connection between myself and this guy. He can sense its emotions, and it seems to like to follow him. Even though he almost fell to death just now, he immediately flew back to find him after recovering. And just now, in extreme hunger, it did not choose to attack him, but dragged its seriously injured body to harm the old sow. From the current situation, it seems that he is able to have some simple communication and interaction with this mutated mosquito. I just don't know if this mutated mosquito will accept his commands. If he can't accept his instructions and just won't attack him, then he needs to carefully consider how to arrange it. If you can't accept his instructions, you absolutely can't take them home. If we follow him home and give Gu's father and mother a bite, then he will become a pure and filial son who leads wolves into the house. So, after thinking for a while, Gu Xian tried to extend his left arm again and then gave it a soft command. "You, come here." With a soft drink from Gu Xian, in his surprised gaze, the mutated mosquito actually flew over and landed precisely on Gu Xian's left arm. Feeling the joyful emotions emanating from the mutated mosquito on my arm, Gu Xian couldn't help but become more playful and gave various instructions to him, such as: fly up, fly to the bed, circle around, fly an 8-character flight, fly an S and then fly A B, haha, Nyobi, I am like those apocalyptic novels. Before the apocalypse arrives, I awaken my talent and become a master of controlling poisonous insects. As Gu Xian continued to increase the difficulty, he was surprised to find that the mutated mosquito did not even require him to give instructions through his mouth. Just need him to give instructions to it in his mind, and it can complete those flight instructions according to Gu Xian's ideas. Relying solely on brainwaves can control this mutated mosquito, which cannot be explained by science at all. So, Gu Xian would guess that he probably awakened some kind of innate ability, just like those apocalyptic novels. Although I don't know why bother him so much? A mutated mosquito that can be controlled by mental thoughts is much more enjoyable than playing drones. Unfortunately, this mutated mosquito is too small. With the current appearance of this mutated mosquito, if it could grow dozens or hundreds of times larger, wouldn't it be like the flying sword in a fairy tale drama? That's really cool and explosive. Controlling the mutated mosquito, it landed on its own palm again. Gu Xian was like a child getting a novel toy, admiring and caressing it. Since we are destined, let's follow me in the future. My family has a chicken farm, a pig farm, and a large cow shed. Please follow me, pig blood, and cow blood vessels are full. Since you will follow me in the future, I also need to give you a name. Since you are a mutated mosquito and look like a thin toothpick or flying sword, then from now on you will be called Ticula. Ha ha ha, Ticula, do you like the name I gave you? A bad name. Are you saying that a big flying mosquito that can be controlled by its mind and fly into an S shaped or B-shaped shape? Is it cool? After arrogantly choosing a good name for Ticula, Gu Xian found a black plastic box the size of a soap box in Ouyang Ming's room and put Taikula inside. When Gu Xian walked out of the room, Dad and Mom were using 6 God's flower dew and some cool oil to mix anti-itch and anti-swelling medicine for the old mother pig. Upon seeing the long, fist-sized swelling on the old sow's forehead, back, and buttocks, Gu Xian, who had a hint of dense phobia, instantly felt that his whole body was not doing well. Quickly averting his gaze, he found O's father and mother and explained that Ouyang Ming had left in the middle of the night because of an urgent matter in Shaolin Temple last night. After explaining everything fairly, Gu Xian refused the offer from O's father and mother, hoping to keep him from having breakfast before returning home. Carrying the tequila in her pocket, she rushed towards home with an excited and hopeful expression on her face. Didi, however, when Gu Xian had just walked halfway. But I happened to see Mr. Gu wearing a denim work uniform, a straw hat, and driving his family's Bell steel pickup truck, carrying a carriage of pig feed. And as soon as I looked at my dad's outfit and the pig feed in the carriage behind the small pickup truck, Gu Xian immediately understood that his father must be going to his family's pig farm. Gu Xian, who is still immersed in the joy of obtaining Taikula, is like playing a game and just catching a top-notch summoning beast. At this point, I naturally thought to quickly raise the level of the summoned beast, cultivate it, and help myself in battle. When I think of the 200 or so fat and strong pigs in my own pig farm. Gu Xian immediately stopped his father and sat down on the passenger seat, tying his seatbelt. "You kid, don't you hate going to the pig farm the most? Why did you change your mind today? Did you eat at Ouyang's house this morning? There's still some small bread in the car." Looking at Gu Xian with an excited expression on his face, Gu's father couldn't imagine that his son wanted to go and fuck his 200 big fat pigs. Gu Xian said, "I'm not hungry. Let's go, let's go. I can't wait anymore." Equals is identical to sigma, omega, Gu dad. Oh. 200 big fat pigs from the pig farm. Don't come over. Degree, end of this chapter. Chapter 6. Sign the contract, accompany the little ant to charge forward together. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Sign the contract, accompany the little ant to charge forward together. Congratulations, congratulations. The new book has been signed again. Let's sprinkle flowers and flowers. After signing the contract, there will be 2 updates every day, with an update time of 12 o'clock a.m., ******, during the new book period. Please be handsome, carefree, handsome, sunny, romantic, steady, sincere, refined, knowledgeable, brave, outgoing, shrewd, strong, hardworking, brave, tenacious, loyal, bold, kind, enterprising, rational, emotional, polite, honest, sincere, calm, cautious, wise, mature and steady, gentle and considerate, broad-minded. Sunny and handsome, gentle and elegant, charming and charming, elegant and charming, young and wealthy, divine and majestic, invincible in the world, invincible in benevolence, fearless in bravery, invincible in diamond, wise and divine in martial arts, extraordinary in chivalry, unparalleled, humble and eager to learn, generous in speech, elegant in demeanor, domineering in spirit, noble in temperament, extremely brave, never drunk in 1,000 cups, sitting still, humble both inside and outside, talented and noble in character. Strong and majestic, with fierce dragons and tigers, domineering and majestic, majestic and majestic, towering above the sky and standing on the ground. A handsome man with pear blossoms pressing down on crabapple trees is more than the readers. Read more and support Auntie's new book. Thank you, Momo, 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 Momo. Thank you, Omega. End of this chapter. Chapter 7, Then It's Okay, Someone Has Taken the Blame. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7, Then It's Okay, Someone Has Taken the Blame. In the impression of many people, pig farms are very dirty and stinky. Hogwash, feed, pig manure, pig urine, and various strange odors mixed together. Flies and mosquitoes are rampant, making it a paradise for flies and mosquitoes. However, those who have truly understood pig farms, especially large ones, will know. In fact, the most important thing for pig farms is hygiene. Many large pig farms are built in remote and uninhabited mountains and forests. Not only are people prohibited from entering within a few kilometers, but they must also stay away from various chemical factories, animal husbandry, and polluted places. Even the staff of the pig farm need to go through strict disinfection procedures when entering. Even all vehicles, feed, and other items entering the pig farm need to undergo strict disinfection and screening. So when Gu Xian accompanied his father, he drove along a rural path from the village towards the remote mountains and forests for 7 or 8 kilometers. They have just arrived at a pig farm located on a small mountaintop. And they also went through strict disinfection procedures before entering the pig farm. "Dad, are you busy? I haven't been here for a long time. I'm going to go shopping everywhere." As soon as he got off the car, Gu Xian couldn't wait to choose to leave. In Gu's bewildered eyes, he ran away all the way before his eyes. Although Gu Xian didn't like to come to his family's pig farm in the past, he still knows the general area division of his own pig farm. After passing through the office building, warehouse, pigsty, piglet pigsty, and new pigsty on a familiar road, Gu Xian has arrived at the pigsty in the innermost area of the pig farm. After arriving at the slaughterhouse, Gu Xian's eyes lit up as he looked around. "I saw a large expanse of white flowers, with separate pig pens filled with fat and strong big pigs." At this moment, these fat pigs still don't know what Gu Xian's arrival means to them. They looked up one after another, even lying on the fence of the pig pen, with wise, curious, and silly eyes, looking at Gu Xian who suddenly arrived. "Go ahead, it's so cool. These are all the rivers and mountains I inherited for you." Gu Xian chose to ignore the innocent and silly gazes of these fat pigs. After all, in Gu Xian's eyes, these white and chubby big pigs are all experience packs walking one by one. Glancing around, I didn't see anyone else. Gu Xian quietly opened the plastic box in his pocket and let Ticula fly out on her own. Buzzing, 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 I felt the flesh and blood emanating from these white, chubby, and fat pigs. Ticula is already starving and thirsty in the plastic box. After being released by Gu Xian and receiving instructions to eat, Ticula immediately transformed into a black light and shadow. Like a demon in the color, excited and ecstatic as it saw a beautiful woman, it pounced in. "Hey! Xiao Xian, you're back. Did you come with your dad?" Just as Gu Xian observed Ticula, switching to drawing blood from each big fat pig. Uncle Lu, who was working in the pig shed, also saw his young owner at this time. Uncle Lu is an old employee who has been with Gu's father for almost 10 years. He often goes to Gu Xian's house for meals and gatherings during Chinese New Year holidays, so he is naturally very familiar with Gu Xian. "Uncle Lu, I came back yesterday. There's nothing to do today, so I'll come and take a look with my dad." "Well, just come back, your father has so many industries, isn't it all yours? Running out to work is asking for trouble, isn't it?" "Hee, Uncle Lu, you're right. It's really too crowded outside." The relationship between the two has always been very close, and this old Lu Shuheo has nothing to do at this time, so he started chatting with the Gu Xian family. After chatting for 7 or 8 minutes, the parents of the East and the West chatted briefly. Uncle Lu didn't want to stay idle all the time, so he asked Gu Xian if he wanted to follow him and take a bath for the big fat pigs inside. It has to be said that the lives of these fat pigs are quite regular, with regular and fixed meals, listening to music every day, and taking cold showers. Hello, however, just when Gu Xian felt that he didn't have much to do anyway, he went to help these fat pigs take a shower. Inside the pigsty, suddenly came the familiar pig howling sound from Gu Xian. Looking along the howling sound of the pig, there was a fat and sturdy big white pig, howling and frantically wiping the wall. What's going on? Uncle Lou, who has been raising pigs all his life, has a deeper understanding of pigs than even humans. Upon hearing the howling of the pig, one could tell that it was currently in a very painful and irritable state. Well done, why did it suddenly start howling? With suspicion in mind, Uncle Lou quickly lifted the steel mesh barrier and walked quickly to the howling big white pig. Oh my goodness, what kind of mosquito is this? Is it so poisonous? Or is there some other poisonous insect coming in from the pigsty? When he walked up to the still howling big fat pig, Uncle Lou couldn't help but exclaim in surprise. Because at the back of this fat pig's neck, there is another familiar red itchy bump that is the size of an ordinary person's fist, which Gu Xian is familiar with. Xiao Xian, hurry up and call your dad over. It's not a big deal that the pig house has poisonous insects inside. I'll prepare some medicine to treat it first. Just as Uncle Lou nervously instructed Gu Xian, he turned around and wanted to go to the medicine box in the pigsty to prepare some detoxifying and anti-inflammatory drugs. Another painful howl of the pig rang out, and then, like poking a hornet's nest, a continuous scream began to echo through the entire pigsty. Oh no! I'm too anxious, it's a bit difficult to end now. Looking at the big fat pig in the entire pig farm, most of which was howling miserably, Gu Xian suddenly felt a chill in his heart, and his head ached as he sucked on his toothache. Just as old Uncle Lou looked bewildered and panicked, looking around to check the condition of the big fat pigs. Ticula, who had just had a full meal in the pigsty, quietly landed on the wall in front of Gu Xian. The sharp and slender mosquito beak, the pitch-black body, the mosquito wings covered in black veins, and 3 long mosquito bellies, like 3 strip-like cloth bags, are bulging and dragging behind it. And now, despite the normal number of 6 mosquito legs, 2 mosquito legs have grown again. And the 2 forelimbs that had previously grown hooked claws have now become a pair of thick and long arms with 3 joints. Sleeping trough, this is too ugly. Watching Ticula come back from a full meal, her appearance has greatly changed. Gu Xian was momentarily stunned by its ugliness, some linen. What kind of monster is this? Why is the speed of mutation so fast? In just over 10 minutes, such a huge transformation occurred in form. If I stay in this pig farm for 10.5 days at this terrifying speed of mutation. You mean, this Ticula will become Godzilla, and even transform into a succubus. Gu Xian won't be surprised at all. Although shocked by the speed of Ticula's mutation, fortunately, this guy's level of control did not undergo any mutation. Even as the mutation of Ticula intensifies, Gu Xian's emotional perception and mental control intensity towards it has slightly increased. Quietly, he took out the plastic box from his pocket again and ordered Ticula to go back quickly with his mind. Whoosh, the body size has skyrocketed again, and it will have grown to the size of a gecko like Ticula. Under Gu Xian's command, without any hesitation, he crawled back into the plastic box. Just 1 or 2 minutes later, other staff members in the pig farm, including Gu's father, were attracted by the huge howling of pigs in the slaughterhouse. Lao Lu, what's going on? Is there something strange happening again? And the short and chubby Mr. Gu, after running into the pigsty ahead of him, immediately asked old Uncle Lou. What strange thing happened again? Did anything strange happen here in the pig farm before? Related to mutated organisms. Gu Xian, who was originally still in distress and had created such a grand scene, how should it end? After hearing Gu's father's words, the whole person immediately became energized. Since such a strange thing has happened before, then it's okay. It must be the guy from last time who committed the crime again. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Gu Dad and the Mutant Weasel. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Goo Dad and the mutant Weasel. After the busy work of Goo's father and the pig farm workers, the howling big fat pigs gradually quieted down after wiping with some disinfectant and swelling-reducing medicine. After calming down all the fat pigs, rinse the entire pigsty and sprinkle a layer of quicklime powder. It was already noon. Everyone has been working hard today. Just now, I asked the owner of Humanuan to prepare some hard dishes and send them over. Everyone will have a good lunch today. There is a saying that goes, a family's wealth is worth millions, not those with hair. Others only see the surface scenery of their home now. Ah, there's such a big pig farm, a chicken farm with thousands of chickens, a cowshed with dozens of cows, and so many vegetable greenhouses. However, the pressure and caution involved were something that only he could feel. To put it bluntly, if something happens one day, such as an infection or something, he might lose all of his financial resources. To manage these places well, relying solely on their family of 3 or 4 people is not enough. So, over the years, Mr. Goo has always shown utmost sincerity and goodwill towards the employees who work under him. Especially for this pig farm, in order for employees to truly protect it, Mr. Goo even set annual dividend targets for each employee. It is precisely because of Goo's generosity and sincerity that the pig farm has become increasingly prosperous over the years with the joint efforts and protection of everyone. After hearing Goo's words, everyone who had appeared somewhat tired from the morning's hard work suddenly had a faint smile on their faces. In this era, who still lacks this meal? However, Mr. Goo's action expressed his sympathy and respect for them, which is the fundamental reason why everyone feels happy. Soon, the owner of Humanuan drove over all the dishes ordered by Goo's father. As the fragrant aroma of the food gushed out, everyone who had been busy all morning transformed into a master of cooking and began to show off their food with a click. Dad, I just heard what you said to Uncle Lou. Has such a strange thing happened here before? After drying 2 large bowls of rice in a crack, there was still a third bowl left and drizzled with vegetable juice. Gu Xian asked in a low voice to Gu's father, who had already finished 4 bowls of rice, while picking up rice. Don't talk to me while eating, it's affecting my cooking. Gu's father, who had thick and short fingers like 5 carrots, obviously didn't want to talk to Gu Xian about these things at this time. He just wanted to be a quiet cook. Do you believe that I can video chat with my mom right now and have her accompany you while eating and chatting? Dad, you can choose between eating and chatting with me or having my mom accompany you while eating and chatting. The experiences from last night until now have subverted Gu Xian's entire worldview. Now he is eager to learn more about mutated creatures and the end of the world. I finally managed to catch some information from my biological father. How could he easily let him fool me? Hiss, why are you still like when you were a child, always reporting big things to your mom? You're already an adult, can you stop being a mommy boy? Girls nowadays dislike mommy boys, do you know? Gu's father, who was originally working happily, immediately became angry when he heard his son's threat. Staring at his pair of eyes, which appeared very small due to too much eyelids and cheek flesh, Gu Xian tried to correct them with language. Gu Xian's habit of constantly reporting to him was evident. Then let my mom accompany you to chat. I don't want to chat anymore. At the Gu family, Gu's mother suppresses Gu's father suppresses Gu Xian, and Gu Xian suppresses his sister Gu Wanwan. And Gu Wanwan is the best at coaxing and winning the favor of Gu Mama, belonging to a perfect closed loop. Although now the suppression chain has collapsed due to my sister Gu Wanwan going out to college. However, in situations where there is a need and the reasons are fully reasonable, Gu Xian also has the ability to make small reports and summon Gu's mother, which can temporarily counter Gu's father. I got it, can't I stop eating? With such a lot of exercise in the morning, I have to eat a little more. If you want to listen, I'll tell you. The incident actually happened 10 days ago, but it wasn't a strange thing that happened at the slaughterhouse, it happened at the pigsty. The weather was very good that night, and the moonlight was also very bright. Everyone didn't pay much attention, just considered it a very ordinary night. But on that night, out of over 60 piglets in the entire pigsty, a total of 19 died, of which 2 were eaten with only bones and debris. Do you know how he died? Reluctantly distributing the remaining half bowl of rice, Gu's father moved his chubby body and leaned the stool against Gu Xian's side. Then he deliberately spoke in a mysterious tone, like telling a horror story, with a tone that was full of ups and downs. I don't know how I died. Gu Xian still gives face to the performance he should cooperate with. After all, he still has to follow Gu's father's words. He, you definitely can't guess, they were all bitten to death by locking their throats. You can't even guess what bit them to death. After Gu's father finished speaking about the method of death, he deliberately paused for a long time, obviously wanting Gu Xian to give him another thumbs up. Weasel. Upon hearing Gu's father's words, Gu Xian pondered and tentatively answered. How did you know? Originally intending to put on an outfit, Gu Xian unexpectedly guessed the correct answer directly, and his face was both uncomfortable and shocked. As you said, killing 19 but only eating 2 proves that the killer didn't kill the other 17 for food, but just for fun. As mentioned later, the killer's way of killing was to lock their throat and kill their prey. Locked throat piglets are definitely not very big in size. In our suburban countryside, isn't the weasel the most suitable animal for this characteristic? It's all said so clearly, so Gu Xian can naturally guess the answer right away. Not bad, truly someone who has worked in a big city has become smarter. However, you can never guess how strange the weasel we killed was. First of all, that guy is outrageously big, with a body about the same thickness as a local dog. When he stands up, he's over a meter tall. Also, that guy actually likes to carry 2 claws on his back and learn to walk with 2 feet squatting. The claws of those 2 front claws are as long and pointed as pointed scissors. The strangest thing is that it has 2 tails. You don't even know how scared everyone was when the 19 piglets died and the surveillance footage revealed that guy. Originally, we also thought of calming things down. Even if 19 piglets were eaten, it would be fine. But that guy is not satisfied. He almost comes to our place every night, eats 2 piglets every night, and plays with more than a dozen piglets to death. After only doing this for 3 days, the piglets are about to be devoured by it. Damn it, even though Wang Dashing and his team came up with such a plan to build this pig farm, they couldn't benefit from your father and me. He's such a beast that even dares to ride on my head and defecate and pee. How could your father and I tolerate him anymore? On the 5th day, your father and I, along with Uncle Lu and 4 young men from the pig farm, set a trap for that guy. As a result, that guy was very smart and didn't fall for the bait. Fortunately, we rushed forward and forced him into a pig pen with the advantage of being familiar with the terrain. 6 shovel clanged on it. That guy was slick like he was smeared with soap, and he went back and forth among the 6 of us. Your father was the only one who gave him a shovel, which made him flat. Finally, when he ran away, old Lu gave him a shovel. When 2 shovel went down, the guy was dead and disabled, and never appeared again. Well, your father can compete with me. Whatever strange things you do, it will be useless once the shovel goes down. With a proud expression on his face, Gu's father finished talking about him and the mutated weasel. So, did you not kill it? Are you not afraid that it will come back to retaliate against you? Recalling what Ouyang Ming told him last night, some naturally intelligent mammals not only undergo physical changes but also greatly improve their intelligence after undergoing mutations. From Gu's account, it can be seen that the mutated weasel can actually learn to walk with hands behind its back, and its intelligence is definitely stronger than that of ordinary beasts. From the perspective of the nature of the mutated weasel to hold grudges and enjoy killing other animals, it is highly likely that being beaten by Gu's father will result in revenge. That was a deformed weasel. Your father, me, and your old Uncle Lu's 2 shovel went down. At least it was a result of bone fracture and internal injury. Even if he was not dead on the spot, he would not know where he died. Besides, if he survived, he would dare to come back for revenge. Come back again, I will give him another shovel, hum hum hum. Although Mr. Gu thinks that the weasel looks very strange. However, from childhood to adulthood, materialistic education instilled atheistic views. It's just asking him to treat the mutated weasel as a slightly larger, twisted weasel with two tails. Therefore, when he heard Gu Xian's warning, his father didn't pay any attention at all. Instead, he looked at Gu Xian with a caring gaze. End of this chapter. Is that how you freely express yourself in Chapter 9? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Is that how you freely express yourself in Chapter 9? Gu's father, who was not aware of the seriousness of the problem, did not pay much attention to his son's warning. Helpless, Gu Xian could only silently focus on this matter. I want to quickly improve Ticula's combat ability. If that mutated weasel really comes back for revenge, he will have some ways and abilities to deal with it. After all, the mutated weasel can eat piglets today, and it's uncertain when it will come back and eat humans. Originally, Dad Gu only came over today to deliver feed and didn't even prepare to have lunch at the pig farm. But today there was such a mess at the pig farm, and Gu's father is worried that this situation may still occur today. So after finishing lunch, Gu's father didn't go home either. Instead, he stayed with Gu Xian at the pig farm, at least not tonight. Gu Xian was naturally pleased to raise his hands in favor of Gu's father's decision. Due to the improvement of pig farming technology and equipment updates, many things in pig farms have become semi-mechanized. So, Gu Xian's pig farm only hired 5 people in total. As a veterinarian and deputy head of a pig farm, although already 52 years old this year, Uncle Lu is quite physically strong. The son of Gu Xian, the second uncle of Gu Xian in the village. Gu Xian is a tall and strong cousin, with a simple and honest personality and strong leadership. He is responsible for the security of the pig farm and the management and scheduling of materials. The cousin introduced by Aunt Gu Xian is Zhang Xilan, who is responsible for cleaning the pig farm. There are also 2 young technicians recruited from outside, both tall and thin, but very robust, Jiang Debao and Zhang Xueo. When night fell and everyone was almost busy with their tasks, Gu's father and Uncle Lu started playing mahjong together in the surveillance room. After watching his father light 3 consecutive shots, Gu Xian said that it was too stuffy here and wanted to go out for some air, so he slipped out of the surveillance room. The pig farm in the wilderness appears very quiet and desolate at this moment, with barren mountains and forests covering a radius of several kilometers. Looking around, there are low hills and forests covered in darkness, and the pig farm is the only illuminated area within a few kilometers. The dark clouds scattered throughout the night sky, coupled with the occasional ghostly mountain winds in the barren mountains at night. Gu Xian felt inexplicably suffocated, and there seemed to be a suppressed, very bad premonition in his heart. If it had been before yesterday, Gu Xian would have felt that he was just overthinking. But now, with a cautious attitude of believing in what he has and not believing in what he has, he silently releases the tecula from his pocket again. Buzzing Ticula, who had been stuck in a plastic box all afternoon, now had 3 mosquito bellies that were originally filled with blood withering again. After being released, he immediately surrounded Gu Xian excitedly, buzzing and transmitting the feeling of hunger. Although the tequila is becoming increasingly strange as it grows, its combat power doesn't seem to have increased much. However, as his only peculiar ability now, the appearance of Ticula still gave Gu Xian a slight sense of security. Just like when facing criminals, having bare hands and a small fruit knife in hand is definitely different in mentality. Because the actual time I had contact with this tecula was actually only a short morning. So, Gu Xian's current understanding of Ticula is limited to its ability to vampire upgrade and quickly mutate. As for how to control Ticula, Gu Xian has only found 2 ways for now. The first way is to directly give commands to Tecula in your mind, such as flying to a certain position, attacking, and returning with simple commands. The second approach is to focus all your attention on Ticula, just like controlling a game character, and controlling Ticula's movements in detail. From the perspective of Gu Xian, the second control method is naturally more powerful. And in places that Gu Xian couldn't see, he could only give a vague command to Ticula and let Ticula take action on her own. Go find something to eat on your own. When at Ouyang Ming's house, Ticula would run to find Ouyang Ming's old sow to suck blood on her own. Perhaps, letting Ticula develop on its own and allowing it to play freely is the most correct and efficient way to improve it. Ticula, who originally belonged to nocturnal creatures, naturally felt as comfortable as a fish in water on such a dark and windy night. At the moment when Gu Xian gave the order, it turned into a black line and headed straight towards the pigsty. Sigh, if Ticula didn't make bags everywhere after sucking blood, and silently sucked the blood, that would be great. 200 pigs, each sucking 1 pound of blood, that's 200 pounds of blood, and it won't cause any impact. Watching Ticula disappear from his sight, Gu Xian sighed and thought in his heart. Since he had made the decision to release Ticula for foraging, Gu Xian was already prepared, and the next scene would be the howling of pigs. 1 minute, 2 minutes. 10 minutes as expected by Gu Xian. After 10 minutes, the first pig to be sucked by Ticula began to howl wildly due to the strange itching on its body. Immediately after, the incessant screams of the slaughterhouse were heard. Mad, I'm finally going to have a big for joy. These damn fools, can't they shout later? With the continuous howling of pigs from the slaughterhouse, everyone in the monitoring room could only drop their mahjong and run out in a swarm. Gu's father was the first to run out, and he also had the most unsightly expression among everyone. He has been losing since the beginning, and finally won a good deck of cards. It seems like he can make a big comeback with a big for joy. As a result, these pig things, whether they call early or late, happen to call at this time. How could they not make him uncomfortable? When Gu Xian followed the big guy and arrived at the pigsty, everyone was immediately startled by the scene in front of them. The big fat pigs, who were originally separated in small compartments and waiting to be released, are now all jumping up and down like crazy. Even under the reckless rush and collision, disregarding the pain, these fat pigs smashed their bodies to pieces, bleeding profusely without caring. It was like a herd of pigs dancing wildly. It's over, it's over, it's all over now. What's going on? Oh my goodness, why are you doing this to me? Seeing the scene in the pigsty, including Gu Xian, everyone was immediately dumbfounded. Immediately after, Gu's father covered his eyes in pain and let out a mournful scream. What are the selling points these days? He doesn't pay attention to product appearance and packaging. Fruits with the same taste, sweetness, and nutritional content, with intact fruit shape, are priced much higher than those with poor fruit shape. And in this pig industry, although the appearance of pigs does not necessarily enhance their value. However, like these pigs in front of me, who have bruised themselves and are bleeding profusely, even if cured, they will still have to leave scars all over their bodies. Not to mention selling at a high price, it is highly likely that one can only sell at a low price. What a sudden disaster, what a sudden disaster, and Gu Xian, who followed the crowd to the slaughterhouse, looked at the scene of the group of pigs dancing wildly in front of him, and he was also completely dumbfounded. What made him even more dumbfounded was that at this moment, he felt a faint emotional fluctuation on every pig. This emotional fluctuation is similar to what is felt in Ticula, but much weaker. If it weren't for this moment, there would be many faint emotional fluctuations from every fat pig on the field, and he might not have felt this level of emotional fluctuation. Damn Ticula, I'll let you play freely. Are you just ruining my pig farm? Is that how you freely express yourself? And, the most crucial thing is, he can't even sense Ticula now. This guy caused such a big thing and disappeared on horseback. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Crisis comes, death comes. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Crisis comes, death comes. Perhaps he didn't want to be too impolite in front of his son, so Gu's father let out a howl. So he controlled his emotions and began arranging for everyone to soothe and control the uncontrollable pig herd, hoping to drive them all back to the fence one by one. However, compared to the small commotion in the morning, the pain suffered by the big fat pigs in the pigsty this time was obviously more intense and unbearable. No matter how they appease, drive away, or even inject animal sedatives into these fat pigs, they continued to rampage wildly, leaving themselves with even more scars. The pig's mouth, spraying white foam, was also continuously emitting a piercing howl. Faced with such a crazy herd of pigs, Gu's father was worried that everyone would be attacked and knocked down by the increasingly crazy fat pigs, so he dared not continue to let everyone stay in the pigsty. We could only close the door of the pigsty together and wait at the entrance, staring at each other with mutual eyes. After waiting for almost an hour for Gu's father and the others, these crazy fat pigs finally collapsed in the pigsty due to physical exhaustion, foaming at the mouth. Amidst the heavy panting, there were also scattered blood droplets spraying out. Crazy, crazy. Are these pigs all crazy? Seeing the pigsty, one by one spitting blood foam and covered in scars all over. Skin and flesh are torn apart, blood is dripping profusely, and some even hit their skulls bare. It's easy to tell with just one glance that the ultimate goal is not to survive the fat pigs. Uncle Lou, who has been raising pigs all his life, couldn't help but tremble with awe at such a strange and terrifying scene. Sitting on the ground with a soft leg and buttocks, murmuring softly to himself. And at this moment, the crowd gathered at the entrance of the pigsty, their condition was no better than that of Uncle Lou. Everyone was frightened by the bloody and terrifying scene in the pigsty, and their faces turned pale. Their respective eyes were filled with fatigue, astonishment, and panic. Aunt Lon and Brother Lou, you are getting older and have worked hard today. Let's go rest first. Debeo and Shueong, you two should also go rest. Tonight, Ah Xian and De Yuan will stay here and wait until dawn for you to change shifts. Watching the big fat pigs in the pigsty, they are slowly calming down now. After taking a few deep breaths and forcing himself to calm down, Gu's father also began to make arrangements for everyone. I'm just 3 years older than you, and my body is much stronger than yours. If you want to sleep, you go sleep. I will definitely find a professional veterinarian outside to see what's going on here tomorrow, and you will have to come forward when the time comes. Although I have raised pigs all my life, as a half-hearted veterinarian, I really can't figure out what's wrong with these pigs. Upon hearing Gu's arrangement, everyone had no objections. Only Uncle Lou frowned and stood up in defiance. Brother Lou, don't argue anymore, just consider it as helping me. I can't possibly fall asleep tonight, and it would be pointless for me to lie down. Tomorrow the pig farm still needs someone to take care of it, so I'll ask you to keep your spirits up tonight. I guess you'll have to work even harder tomorrow. Upon hearing Uncle Lou's words, Gu's father walked up to him and tightly grasped his hand, persuading him. Okay, be careful, Yuan Shan. De Yuan, take care of your Yuan Shan brother and Na Xian. At Gu's strong request, Uncle Lou stopped talking. With Zhang Shilan, Jiang Debeo, and Zhang Shueong, they left first and returned to the dormitory. Dad, how do we guard? We can't just squat at this door and guard, can we? Upon hearing Gu's arrangement, Gu Xian naturally did not cry out for hardship or exhaustion, and was unwilling to accompany him on the night watch. However, in the barren mountains of Mei now, especially in the dark and windy weather tonight, he, who was only wearing short sleeves, now felt a bit cold. If he stayed outside this pigsty all night, he would have to be frozen and sick. So, after stomping his feet and rubbing his palms, Gu Xian whispered to his father. Upon hearing Gu Xian's question, Gu Deyuan quickly turned to Gu's father. He was also afraid that Gu Yuanshan would take them to guard outside the pigsty overnight under the immense stimulation. This sounds like a fear of hardship and exhaustion. Although he is a cousin, he is also an employee under Gu Yuanshan, so it's not easy to ask. Fortunately, Gu Xian was quite clever and immediately asked. A fool has only been staying here all night. If he gets sick from freezing, it won't be worth the loss. Let's go back to the surveillance room and take turns guarding the monitor tonight. Being in this remote and desolate place, Gu's father naturally has some safety considerations. So, cameras are everywhere in the entire pig farm, capturing every corner of the farm without blind spots. Tonight, he not only needs to monitor the movements in the pigsty, but also personally check all the videos during this period. Take a good look at these pigs. Why do they suddenly go crazy when they are well raised? Let's see if someone is intentionally causing trouble. Quickly, under the guidance of Gu's father, the three of them returned to the monitoring room. Then Gu Deyuan accompanied his father and began searching day by day for surveillance videos of the pigsty. And Gu Xian was arranged to be on the side, just staring at the surveillance footage of the slaughterhouse. Although Gu Xian is the mastermind behind the death of over 200 fat pigs in his own family tonight. But to be honest, just like Gu Xian and his father, Gu Xian also had a bewildered expression on his face. Previously, although Taikula was sucking blood, the object being sucked would only have a little itchy bumps at most, and would not go crazy at all, let alone go crazy to the point of exhausting or hitting herself to death. So, Gu Xian, who was also full of doubts in his heart, sat in front of the monitor. He carefully stared at the surveillance screen and didn't miss any suspicious frames. Time passed rapidly as the three of them focused on watching. Quickly, time arrived at 11:20 p.m. in the evening. Gu Dad and Gu Deyuan, who have been watching replays for several hours in a row, are now so tired that their eyes are blurred. They have been watching attentively and mentally exhausted. On the contrary, Gu Xian on the side watched a scene that remained largely unchanged and did not feel much fatigue. Uncle Yuan Shan, let me go to the dormitory and get you some instant noodles. Stretching lazily, Gu Deyuan rubbed his already slightly sore eyes. After much of the night's turmoil, Gu Deyuan, who was already prone to hunger, was already starving. After making a low growl in his stomach, Gu Deyuan stood up and greeted his father, then prepared to open the door and go to the dormitory to get some instant noodles to eat. Okay, after hearing what you said, I'm also starving. Can you give me a braised beef-flavored dish? Uncle Yuan, if you have pickled Chinese cabbage flavor, please give me a pickled Chinese cabbage flavor. After a night of turmoil, Gu Dad and Gu Xian also felt some hunger and began to choose flavors. After making a gesture of okay, Gu Deyuan pushed the door and left, leaving only Gu Xian and Gu Dad in the monitoring room, staring at the surveillance footage of the pig shed. However, as time passed by, more than half an hour passed, Gu Deyuan still did not come back. Why has Deyuan been soaking noodles for so long? Ah Xian, wait for me here, I'll go to the dormitory and see what he's up to. Unable to wait for Gu Deyuan to return, Gu's father, feeling hungry, prepared to get up and go to the nearby dormitory building to find Gu Deyuan. Dad, it's so late, just give him a call. Now tired and hungry, Gu's father didn't think much and was ready to leave to find Gu Deyuan. However, Gu Xian beside him had an extra thought at this moment. While shouting to stop Gu's father, he controlled the pig farm and slowly zoomed in on the monitor, facing the camera in the dormitory building. In just a few steps, what kind of phone call did I make? I happened to go out and breathe fresh air. Upon hearing Gu Xian's words, Gu's father still did not realize his true intention to retain him, nor did he think that Gu Deyuan might be in danger. Dad, something's wrong, come and take a look at the footage captured by the camera. Fortunately, Gu Xian was quite proficient in operating this surveillance camera. In just a few seconds, he switched the surveillance footage of the slaughterhouse to the surveillance footage of the dormitory building. And just after the monitoring screen is switched and zoomed in, Gu Xian's eyes immediately contracted, and he quickly shouted out to stop Gu's father. Upon hearing his own son's words, Gu's father was suddenly startled and rushed to the monitor screen. This. When he saw the screen of the monitor clearly, Gu's father suddenly widened his eyes in fear. After swallowing a mouthful of saliva, he stuttered but couldn't even express a complete sentence. Because on the monitor screen, Gu Deyuan was still lively half an hour ago. At this moment, the body had already separated and died silently at the staircase of the dormitory building. End of this chapter.